Hi, my name is Beth Hyman here from Board Game Geek at Origins 2018. I'm sitting down with Mike Slinker and Rodney Thompson, and you are from Lone Shark Games,
Yes.
and you brought us Thornwatch.
We have. It's a brand new game of ours. We made it with the folks at Penny Arcade. This is a real game. It is not out until, however, the 10th
It's pretty
of
heavy
July.
if it wasn't a real game.
So we want to let you know that it's available not quite yet, but it will be out shortly. It's a world where it's a fantasy forest. There's a whole bunch of villagers out there, and they're constantly getting into trouble. Because that's what villagers do.
Oh, those villagers.
Yeah, and so when they get into trouble, actually I'm going to pull it back up just so you can see the image. Think about it. They will tie a bramble knot in a tree and prick their thumbs on it and summon the Thornwatch. The Thornwatch are the ghostly spirits of the forest that are called like a fantasy A-team to come and solve all the problems that people keep creating for themselves. And so you play those spirits. You're the ghosts of the forest. They're called into action to solve the problem that is arrayed before you by the judge. And I'll let Rodney describe who the judge is and who the players are.
Yeah, so basically this is a game where most of the players are playing the Thornwatch, but one player is playing the judge. And the judge represents the forces of the ebb. And the ebb is sort of the dark, corrupting force that brings all the nastiness into the forest, right? And so as the judge, I have a bunch of special abilities, I control all the monsters, and I'm basically trying to stop the Thornwatch from achieving the goal that's laid out for them on the particular scenario that you've chosen. This scenario has some basic rules, some story text on it, and a win condition that the players are working towards.
And you can see, just to jump
Right,
in,
so we had sort of had this up.
Right.
So the storyboard that you're holding, we have many of these in the game, has a comic strip that, since we're working with comic creators, we want you to feel like you're in a comic book, right?
Yeah.
So we have a comic strip. On the inside is sort of a map and a structure that the judge needs, and then we dispense with that. We go to playing out the game, and then there's a sort of choose your own adventure kind of thing on the back that that allows you to go forward. All right, I'm done interrupting you, Rodney.
Sounds good. So the players each have a player mat in front of them, and they have a deck of cards that drives all of their abilities. And that deck of cards has actions and it has skills in it. Now, actions require skills in order to fuel them. And so if you flip it over, you can see like at the bottom of every action card is a series of symbols. And those symbols indicate like what you need to power them in order to use that skill. Once you use a skill, once it's fully powered, you can use it as an action, then it goes into your discard pile, and then will eventually cycle back into your deck to be drawn once more and to put out on the board. Now you use those cards to run around the board, accomplishing objectives, fighting monsters, dealing with obstacles and hazards that are out on the board, and working towards the goal of the scenario. The way turn order and everything works is that up at the top here you can see we have a momentum track. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. So the momentum track represents turn order, and it's also how you defeat monsters. Basically the way it works is every round you're going to shuffle up all of the cards. There's cards representing monsters, representing characters, representing NPCs. You shuffle them all up, deal them out from root to edge, and that's your turn order, right? However, when monsters take damage, their cards get pushed towards the edge, meaning that damage basically delays their actions. So you basically damage enemies, trying to get them further and further down the track so they can do less damage to you. When a monster's on the edge and it takes any damage, it gets knocked down at the game. And the key here is...
I like it's live TV. Nothing like that.
Yep.
So
yeah,
at
the
edge.
key is when a monster's on the edge and it takes any damage, that's how it gets knocked out. But if you don't knock it out and the round ends, we shuffle up all the cards and deal them out again, so all of your work might have been for naught. So when I describe this as a tactical game, I say this is a game about coordinating your abilities with your allies to get a monster to the edge and knock it out. It's not about dealing the most damage or coming up with the most broken combo. It's about timing and precisely figuring out what combination of your abilities and turns gets an enemy knocked out.
One thing I really like about this is the bar I set was no one ever looks at their phone. During the game, no one ever looks down.
high engagement.
There's no point where the judge is writing things in the corner. There's no point where they're flipping through anything. There's no point where the players are not engaged on the other players' turns, because they're all in it together. There's no point where you can ever win by yourself. It just never happens.
In fact, every character even has a default ability on their character card that can be used to help your allies or do things not on your turn. So you always have an attack, and you always have a cooperative ability that you might be able to trigger at any time.
Meanwhile, the judge is like plotting over here. Right?
Yeah, and let's take a quick look at the board for that as well.
The judge in this game, you have choices as to what judge you're playing. And we also have an expansion coming out, the Dark of the Wood, which has more judges in it and more player characters as well. So the judge isn't just an administrator. They're not just sort of saying, well, I guess I'm gonna do stuff so other people can have fun. And in some games with an overlord or something like that, that's sort of how you feel. This game, you have tactical decisions and resources and goals that represent who you want to be.
And you're trying to win, right? You're trying to beat the Thornwatch.
And how many different judges in the base game?
Base game there are 2, and the expansion there are 2. And we'll keep going on that route as much as we can. But we wanted to make sure that we get asked a lot, how seriously should I take this? Should I make sure that the Thornwatch have no chance to win, and or should I make sure that as the caretaker of this, that everybody has a good time? And we decided not to answer that question. We decided to make some judges are really good at ruining the Thornwatch's day.
But we know there's a right answer, and that's the bloodthirsty. Right?
Well, that's maybe some of us play that way. Us. But other people, nice people, might want to play it differently.
Now, because this is tying in with sort of a comic book feel, did you have a comic book artist?
Yes.
The one who did a
Absolutely.
lot of your artwork?
So it would be too limiting to say that. So Mike Krahulik and Jerry Holkins came up with a world and started by writing a game that went in that world.
Yeah.
Like they went all out. They came up with a structure that worked, that sort of showed off their world before we ever got involved. Mike was terrified, is a simple word, to show me this game, right? But I was like, no, show it to me. Trust me, I'll be nice. There was no guarantee I was going to be nice. And I said, no, I really like this. There's a lot that can be done to make it better. He was taking notes with pencils and stuff like that. I was like, no, that's all going away. But the heart of this game is the game that he showed me. And when he wanted to show off a concept, he would just illustrate it magnificently, right? Like, it was amazing. Rodney would say things like, I want the back of the storyboard cards to work like this. And Mike would sort of nod along in a meeting, and I'd go, Mike isn't getting this.
No, he was. He was.
But in his head, he was just sort of magically seeing it, and then he would come back like 3 days later and said, I drew this. This probably isn't this probably isn't what you wanted, but is it okay? And we would go, that's exactly what we wanted, and Rodney should have come up with something better, right?
Honestly, like, it was an absolute joy to be able to collaborate with them to help bring their vision to life. Because honestly, like, I feed off of other people, and working with such talented artists and writers and everything, it was just like every idea I had just got better every time it cycled through. And like, honestly, like, so much of the core of this game is still what Mike and Jerry envisioned from the beginning. That I feel like I just came and put a polishing pass.
No, I mean, that's so wrong, by the way.
I'm going to make a little pyramid here so we can highlight the fact that you guys already have an expansion lined up, ready to go.
Again, both of them come out on July 10th, so don't go to your store today.
Not yet.
Although you can go there and ask for it. They might
They'll just say no.
They'll say no.
Well, if you guys want to check that out, that is Thornwatch and the expansion soon, Dark of the Wood, which is being published by Lone Shark Games. Mike and Rodney on the other side of the box there, thank you both and for your effort and for your time to show us.
Thank you for having us. We always love being on BGG.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.